Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Guys, this morning we continue our discussions and we are chatting all about the upcoming elections for the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Social and Welfare Association. I have the privilege this morning of sitting in studio with two lovely ladies and a gentleman here. We have Sergeant Sookram Loutan.
Yes, it is.
And you will be vying for the position of Secretary. Good morning and welcome.
Pleasant.
We also have with us another lovely lady on my far right. We have Mrs. Gail Ann Edwards Ali.
Yes.
Right, and that's also Sergeant.
Yes, Sergeant. Vying for Assistant Secretary.
Excellent. And in the middle, we have Inspector Miller, and you will be vying for the position of trustee.
Yes. Good morning, and thank you for having us.
All right. Good morning, and I'm speaking with Team Equity.
Yes.
Equity.
Yes.
All right. Well, let me start with you, Madam Secretary in waiting. Why did you put yourself up for the position, and what type of passion for leadership do you have?
Yes, so we have the firm belief that this team consists of members that can bring what we desire and what we need in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service at this time, which is fearless representation. Representation to ensure accountability, right? As our name suggests, our team is about empowerment, quality of work life. We want a different quality of work life. We want unity, inclusiveness of all our members, both the regular and the special reserve police officers and our municipal officers. We want inclusiveness, we want transparency in the way things are done, and we want to yield results. And we have the firm view that we can do that.
Excellent. And Assistant Secretary in waiting, Sergeant Edward Ali. Good morning to you.
Morning.
Tell us why you also decided to put yourself forward. And we see that you two are the two women on this Team Equity. Why is it important for women to be involved in this level of leadership within the T.T.P.S.W.A?
Yes, I have looked at the slate and the strength of the individuals thereon, and I believe that we have the leadership qualities, the professionalism, the integrity to go forward. And looking at these individuals, I decided that these are the members I think could go forward and lead the executive of the Social Welfare Association of Trinidad and Tobago Police in the direction it needs to be. It's time that we have that level of change, and we believe that we could bring that change. I believe that this group of individuals could bring that change.
Excellent. Inspector Miller, a lot of persons may not know the actual role of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Social and Welfare Association. Give us a bit of a background on that and why it's important for this level of leadership within your team to be that team that move forward to lead.
Okay, thank you. The Social Welfare Association of the Police Service deals with issues that affect police officers socially and their welfare, the workplace, the policies. We are challenging some of the policies, some of the structure of the situations that we believe that police officers, both serving and retired, supplemental and municipal, should be treated differently. We have at a stage of transformation in the service, and the association too must also transform its ideas so that we can treat with the individual. The human resource in the service is the most important one, regardless of what they say. The car can't operate by itself, the computer can't work by itself, and if we don't have that proper treatment of the human resource aspect or element, the whole system crumbles. So this Team Equity believes, based on the experience and the knowledge and the performance and the years of service we have had individually and combined, and based on our professional qualifications and personal interactions and being out there and being in the trenches throughout the years, that we are equipped with all the prerequisites that can transform the Social Welfare Association to keep with the present trend and to lead the future of the service where the human resource aspect is concerned.
Right, and this association is in Trinidad and Tobago. So you being voted in as trustee or secretary or assistant secretary, this is for the entire Trinidad and Tobago and not just the Tobago division.
That's
That's
correct, ma'am.
absolutely correct.
That's correct.
Excellent. But how are decisions made within the association, and how are those decisions then transferred into overall policy that transforms the TTPS?
So this is one of the reasons why we have persons from both Trinidad and Tobago on our slate, because who else would understand the needs of where they are actually attached than the persons who are there? We are all police officers serving police officers in different divisions, different sections, and we have with us Mr. Guy, who is also from Tobago, and we have Inspector Miller, who is also from Tobago. So they have indicated to us the issues plaguing the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, let me say at this point in time, regardless of whether you're in Trinidad or in Tobago, it's the same. It's one and the same, right? But we do have them bringing that touch from Tobago, and we do have other individuals from Trinidad also identifying the issues. Yes?
In furtherance to answering your question, ma'am, how is the information and how do you get to decision making? The compilation of the Social Welfare Association, there's the executive, there's the central committee, and each division, branch, and section has a central committee representative, so that the information is flowed through the channel. The issues are brought back through the channel. So everything is discussed, it's tabled, it's viewed, it is sent out. We look at the information, we look at the majority and what is required. A decision is just not made solely by the executive, but we have inclusiveness for every division, branch, and section in the service to know what is best needed for police at this point in time.
Right, and Inspector Miller, we see that the TTPS is moving towards a place where they are more customer-centric, right? Having that more customer service approach of how they deal with the public to regain public trust. How would that be done internally? Although these campaigns are being done externally to help encourage that partnership with the public, how would it be done internally, specifically with the input of the association to ensure that workers feel seen?
Well, ma'am, we meet on a regular basis, or as we see fit with the Commissioner of Police, the stakeholders in the situation, and together we table the issues. We discuss the ideas, we look at the possible solutions. So it's not just an association making a decision. We go out, we seek the information, we speak to the commissioner, we speak to the executive of the TTPS, we speak to all officers at all levels, and together we make that decision what is best for the majority.
All right. And even our assistant secretary, vying for assistant secretary, how do you think you can make a difference to the overall TTPS by being in this position?
Okay, this position would empower me using my qualifications as a HR MBA, right, to address all issues that would affect all our police officers. And when I say all, I am including our special reserve and our municipal, so that all HR related issues would be dealt with on that level. So
Understood. And, you know, without going into too much detail of exactly what some of the key issues are, when you think about, you know, truly rallying for your colleagues, what are some of the key elements you think that need to be put on the forefront when you ask people to vote for you?
Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
And then you can have the secretary also
answer.
Yes.
One of the key issues that we have is making sure that our officers has the correct tools and training to address issues on the outside. We have, as you mentioned earlier, about dealing with our clients, as we would call them now. Before we would say that we are in the charge room. Now we are in the reception area, because we engage people on that level. We train our officers now in the service to be more respectful, to be more compassionate, and have empathy to deal with the public. in the issues that they are facing. When people come to the station, they have a problem, and we need to be able to address it. And we want to make sure that our officers has the tools and they are safe. Bulletproof vests is a sore point that we have to ensure that all our officers are fitted with a proper functioning bulletproof vest so that they can go out there. Crime rate has increased. Even here in Tobago, we are now facing an increased level of crime, and we intend to make sure that our officers can deal with it. We have to provide them with laptops and computers, printers, and so on to ensure that they could perform efficiently and effectively.
Yes, please. So, in furtherance to what Mr. Edwards-Ali said, we have not just external customers, but we have internal customers in Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, which are our employees. And the working conditions of our employees need to be dealt with and treated with, and it must be compliant with the OSHA. Yes, we must have police officers, as Ms. Ali said, bulletproof vests is an extremely sore point. However, we are advocating for our police officers to be armed at all times. As police officers, we are not on duty for 8 hours or 12 hours. We are police officers regardless of whether we are on or off duty, and we are advocating, and we wish to advocate very strongly for that. If we were to enter into office, for us to be armed at all times with firearms.
Inspector Miller, personally for you, what do you think is one of those issues that, is very close to your heart when it comes to representing your colleagues?
Ma'am, we often see the systems putting great emphasis on equipment and so on, and not paying attention to the human resource. The health of your officers is important. If we don't have healthy officers, we can't work. The environment, the social services, the medicals, the optical, the transformation back into society upon retiring from the service, there's no specific plan to treat with that, which is also a sore point. Having given all your life to the service and to your country, and to retire and not being treated properly in terms of your remuneration in a timely manner, and programs for you to reintegrate yourself back into social society. I mean, you see officers falling by the way. Some of them fall into social problems. So those are things that we intend to look at: the human resource, the system that treats with the special reserve officers in terms of how they are viewed, the important role that they play, because they work just as serious as any other officer. So we need to ensure that there's a balance, there's an equity, there's that equal treatment and recognition of importance that must be given to each and every officer.
Excellent. Well, we're going to take a quick break right here, and when we come back, we will continue with this conversation. So guys, we're going to take a quick break here and see you soon. Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Update. I am your host, Shenell Felix. This morning, I have been chatting with a number of members of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service about the upcoming elections for the T.T.P.S.'s Social and Welfare Association. This morning, I've had the privilege of chatting with Team Equity, and now I have joining me Corporal Damion Guy. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Right, so you are joining your team of colleagues here with it's Inspector Dexter Miller, as well as Sergeant Edwards-Ali.
Yes.
And you make up part of Team Equity. Now, why are you vying for the position of trustee? Why is it important for you to put yourself up as one of those key Tobago representatives there on the association?
Firstly, ma'am, I would like to thank Team Equity. When I look at the slate of persons running for office, not many of the slates have Tobagonians. Tobago has always been kind of left out of the decision making as it relates to the association. So I must thank my colleagues on Team Equity. I chose to put myself up for election because I understand clearly the needs of my Tobago counterparts. And the police officers by extension. I have spent a while at the ground, so I understand all too well the problems faced, the day-to-day problems faced by police officers. And taking that into consideration and understanding that being part of this association, I may be able to do better from that aspect. I chose to put myself up for election with this team.
Right, and Corporal Guy, you know, persons call the T.T.P.S. a cutthroat environment, specifically when you look at recent events that happened with the last removal of the last commissioner of police and how that deals with employee morale, especially when it comes to elevating within the T.T.P.S. Is that an important, you know, point for you to deal with as you are on this committee or on this association?
Cutthroat. I believe that as the moral as it relates to the police, to policing right now, I would be fair and admit that it's at a low, right? Based on different things taking place, as in all workplaces. However, we intend to do our best to lift that morale because we understand that the not just the service, but there are persons in the society who need us. Some who don't even believe that they need us the most. And because of that, we are going to, notwithstanding what has happened and what is happening with the executive of the police service at this time, we intend to do our best.
Right, and as you said, for you, you have been on the ground for a long time.
A very long time.
And you have seen the struggles of your counterparts, especially here in Tobago.
In Tobago, yes.
How important is police security? You know, I heard one of your colleagues mention in her contribution, who is vying for the position of secretary, she indicated that police should have a firearm on them 24/7, or at least be able to carry that. How important is that as it pertains to, you know, individual security for all officers?
Well, that goes without saying, and I am a champion for that, if I may say so. A police officer is on duty 24/7. And in the Tobago society, where Tobago is so small, everybody knows everybody. A person would know a police officer and could identify with a police officer. We have seen the rise of gun violence throughout Trinidad and Tobago, and more so in Tobago in the last year. And what this would mean is that a police officer hearing a situation occurring, he could fly into, if I could use that term, fly into action because he's equipped whilst off duty. So I am one that championing for that cause of police officers being equipped with firearms on and off duty.
Right, Inspector Miller, again, why is it important for, you know, your team equity to have that level of diversity by including women and inclusion by ensuring that there are Tobagonians on that association?
Well, first thing, the inclusion of women. We must have balance, and we'd have seen women rise to highest positions in society, in private sector and public sector. In Tobago, the Tobago division is separate, apart, and standalone. In Trinidad, each division can interact with each other and could call on each other for assistance. In Tobago, we are alone. So we are saying that we need to look at how we treat with the Tobago division in terms of equipment, in terms of services, in terms of training, in terms of distribution, in terms of outreach and programs. Because in Tobago division, we don't have as much to tap on as in Trinidad. So we are leveling that playing field, so to speak, where everything is concerned, where it affects our police and the organization.
Excellent. And for our lone woman on the set now this morning, Sergeant Edwards Ali, tell us a bit about when the election is taking place and why it's important for officers to make sure that they participate in that election.
Okay, this election takes place on the 30th of June. It runs from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. We have a list of stations that would have polling stations, and we are asking officers to come out and vote because we have had an association operating, but we knows that there's need for change, and we know that we could bring that change. A lot of people stay away from voting because they have not been pleased with the service they have been receiving from the incumbent, the present association. And we are saying, if you do not like what is happening, if you do not like the performance of the present association, then come out and vote and make that change. Let your voice be heard, because if you don't come out and vote, then your voice could never be heard. What you have to say is important to us, and the only way that could be done is if you come out and vote us. Give us a chance to work for you, to bring your issues and actually make that change that you have been longing for so many years.
Excellent. And finally, Corporal Guy, persons or officers in Tobago may have in the past not felt, connected to these elections, or as though it is something that they need to participate in or see it as affecting them directly. Why is it important this time around, particularly, to ensure that you as an officer participate in this election?
Well, this time around, they have persons on this slip that know all too well the problems that they face with in the Tobago sphere on a day-to-day basis. There are persons here who understand what is needed to correct those problems. And I believe that this time around, that all hands on deck, all police officers in Tobago, as my colleague just said, come out and vote. Make a change. The change that you want to see, be part of that change. Let's create history.
Excellent. And this internal election for the Trinidad and Tobago's Social Police Services, Social and Welfare Association would be taking place on the 30th of June, as indicated by Sergeant Edwards Ali. And this is from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and officers would be able to vote at designated polling stations that would be at different police stations, right? And so, guys, we want to thank you so much for your time this morning, and we are wishing Team Equity all the best, and we are wishing our Tobago representatives all the best as well in your vie for the positions of trustee. Guys, we want to thank you so much for sticking with us this morning. Thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have done and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am your host, Shenell Felix, and have a great day.